You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
Don't let it.
Go try to find a park.
We are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. Live and direct from NARBC Arlington. I'm sitting in front of Jen of Kittinger Reptiles, which this episode is brought to you by the one and only Kittinger Reptiles. And here we have Jen. What's up?
Hey.
Listen, an honor to finally get to meet you
It's nice to meet you too.
because I felt like I became a fan of you after having your brother on the show and then not knowing that there was a brother-sister like working partnership. It's very, listen, if you could get along with family like that, not to say that you guys probably always get along, but I'm just,
Oh, we do.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Surprisingly, yeah.
So there you go, man. But how you feeling? How you like being here, Arlington, NARBC?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love being at the shows. Texas in particular, probably my second favorite place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you have like a natural niche for the sales behind the shows. I mean, we were just going live and you couldn't help but to at least still reach out and say hi to the people looking. Could you say you kind of feel awkward sitting down right now and there's
do.
people looking at your product?
Yeah.
But Jason's right here killing it. He's
Yeah.
shaking hands, kissing
That's that
babies.
teamwork.
Yeah. So listen, I have to ask you. First and foremost, thank you for sitting down with me and spending your time here on the podcast. But what is it that you're liking the most out of the partnership with you and your brother? Like, what is kind of the most inspiring thing at this point in the ball python league?
Well, definitely watching him go from like his passion and loving something
Right.
that was a hobby. So he turned his hobby and his passion into his business. And it's amazing to see. You would never think in a million years, at least I didn't, that you would be in a show like this.
Right.
Even having snakes, I was like, ew, gross. Like I never touched them, looked at them, not interested, didn't care. But he's always had them since high school, so he's always been into it. So it was really nice to see him make his dream come true.
Yeah, I would have never expected a world like this for reptile people because the way I grew up, it was like a long hair tattoo guys with leather jackets kept snakes. That's I thought that was like the only thing as far as the reptile world. But no, it's like dude, there's a bunch of. I mean, listen, I don't want to say that the people in the reptile game are normal people. It's definitely not. I mean, there's
Definitely
introverts.
open-minded.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that part about it.
you don't know who you're going to meet in this industry,
That is true.
and that's what makes everything so. I mean, the biggest gift is meeting people that could really kind of see it, make you look at life differently.
Yeah, there's
You know?
definitely a lot of really awesome people. Every show we go to, you meet different breeders, different people, different customers, kids, everybody.
And the kids, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of what is making this happen. I feel like because all the younger generation before the reptile shows being what they are now were influenced by the animals. And, I don't know, like there's people in the industry that have been around and coming to reptile shows for years. Wasn't for me. Like I didn't get put on to reptile shows till in my 30s.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it kind of feels like I am a kid again. Like this is one of the most rewarding feelings where you can kind of like, it's okay to get excited over something you just produced, but it's like Christmas. It's like what other stuff makes you feel that good? You know what I mean? It's
Pure joy.
Yeah, right.
That's that passion for your hobby.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think the most important thing is considering vending at a show? Like, I think some people have expectations, like especially people who've never vended before and they have nice stuff. They think it's going to sell, right? That's not always the case. But what is one thing that you could, to make your job easier when vending? You feel like, even if it's the crowd or whatever, like, do you feel like there's something important that every vendor should do while they're vending?
Personally, I have a little bit of a marketing background, so
Okay, cool.
I think it's important to acknowledge everybody. Everybody who comes to your table, everybody who even just say hello. I was always taught, like, if somebody's within 3 feet of you, acknowledge them. Say hello.
Right.
It's kind of just acknowledging that they're there.
It's common courtesy.
Yeah.
Too. It's like,
That's the thing. Like, just behind the table, you're on your phone, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they're not, you just engage a little bit.
Right. I mean, just like any business. Like, you walk into a cell phone store or something, and, you're being greeted and talked to within the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also, that's kind of how you also build relationships and just potential customers for the future. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've seen come buy a snake at a table, and who's like, yeah, I came by this table last year, and I messed up, and now I'm not messing up. I'm buying this snake. You know what I mean? So you just never know. Even though they're not going to buy right then and there, like, first and foremost, like, sales happen after the show all the time.
All the time. We always, every time we vend on a Sunday, right when we're about to close up, we make a last sale. Like, never planned, like, just happens all the time. That one last
Crucial sale.
Yeah, and it just happens.
Right.
But we don't set up, we don't like break down early. Like, we always stay till the end. And I think that's what it is too. Some people break down. I think it gives them a chance to walk around, maybe. I'm not sure. But either way, somehow, every show, even if it's a little one, still, like, bringing it home.
I mean, you understand you have people who have a mission of potentially wanting to buy something at a show, and then they go the whole show without finding what they want until Sunday. And then all of a sudden Sunday go, I didn't see this, So Sundays, I feel like, I think Sundays have been game changers for people being successful at shows.
And Sundays can tend to be slower.
Right.
So it's more time for, like, customer relations kind of thing. And Jason is so full of knowledge, and that's what I love about him. It's like, he doesn't care if you're buying a $20 steak or the $9,000 prize possession. It doesn't matter to him. He's going to spend that time with you. If you have questions, so basic, he's going to take the time. And I love that about him. He's so humble. Right.
And that's because, I mean, I think he understands that the animals are selling themselves in a sense, right? But and I feel like he's fine giving the animals the credit. I don't feel like anyone should kind of gloat over their success when it comes to, like, as long as you're happy for the animal and what you're doing behind it. And I feel like, Jason, I'm sure he reminds, every time he talks to somebody, I'm sure he's reminding being that person inquiring and being that guy going to vendors and talking about snakes. And I mean, that's sometimes one thing I love about, like, these shows is, like, it's hard for me to conversate with some people. I'm not gonna lie. Like, for me to be in tune to a conversation, it's really hard for me not to get, like, my ADD where I'm thinking of something else. It has to be something I'm really into. So if we're talking snakes, and so for the most part, I have really good conversations at these shows because I'm really talking to other people who are asking me questions that are like, that's a good question. And then it's just a back and forth.
And you're in your element.
And
it's like your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like, these are your people. This is what you like. They all like the same like-minded people, so that helps.
Like, one of my biggest, and it sucks because I always regret it afterwards, but when I run into somebody I haven't seen in a long time, I'm not talking about reptile people. I'm talking about, like, somebody from high school, right? And it's like, you can only say so much, right? But without, like, I don't know, the small talk. I guess talk. I'm not a big small talker.
And what are you going to talk about?
I'm just like, wish you the best. You know what I mean? Unless you're like, hey, you keep snakes? Yeah. Okay. Then we could talk. But I don't know. It's just because, admit it, we're all in our own world in this. Like, this is our world. And, I was talking to Marshall Mendez. Shout out to Marshall Mendez.
I met Marshall.
Actually, I'm going to get Jen one of these koozies right
I
here.
love that koozie.
Okay? Velvets. Okay,
so
classic.
Nice.
But anyways, Marshall has people that come over to his house that he's known for like 10 plus years, and they go, holy shit, you keep snakes? And dude, but, like, you have people who just, like, they don't talk about it. You know what I mean? And that's their prerogative. Like, you can do what you want. But but he's been a long time keeper since the 90s or the 80s or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just still green and brand new to where I can't help but to want to just talk about snakes all the time. You know what I mean? Do you keep anything yourself at home personally? I'm curious.
I do not keep any snakes at home. I have a couple reptiles like that with my kids, so obviously I have to take care of them.
Right.
But no snakes. But I take care of all of these. So I have.
So it's like they're yours.
Yeah, exactly. So if I needed something, I could just go over there and take a little look and put it back when I'm done.
Right. and you go home about your day. Go about
Exactly.
your day. Yeah. Let's kind of talk about the duties for you at Kittens Your Reptiles. Like what are like what is it that you're really helping your brother with?
So as the director of operations, just kidding, I gave myself that title.
I was like, that's a legit title. I like that.
No, it's a great teamwork. So I go there every day and I take care of all the snakes, everything, cleaning the room, RHACS, everything.
Ultrasounding?
No, I don't do ultrasounding and I don't do feeding.
Right.
I am not there.
I mean, I don't. Here's the thing. I'm not. My wife is like my best. Like when it comes to like me putting what I love in someone's hands, my wife is it, right? But no feeding. She just can't do the feeding. Not even frozen thawed. Like she just like she doesn't like being struck at. Like the whole getting striking, you know. But I don't know. She just like me. Like I bred my own rodents for a while, but it got depressing because I was falling in love with my rats. Like I had these breeder rats that once they would stop breeding or like they got to that age, I'm like, dude, I don't want to feed you off. Like you're just like, you know, we've been through a lot together. Like, you know, but then like I would have to get in a bad mood or something to get to that point. And so it was just really, it was hard on me. You know what I mean? So once I stopped breeding rats, it became a lot easier, you know?
Well, it's like, just like you said about the rats, you see these people in the shows and they've got these bugs I've never even seen.
Yeah.
So it's just these people in the industry. It's so open-minded, like I said.
Yeah.
So you see everything here. Things you would never even look at and be like, oh, you bought that?
Right.
So
remind me what part of Florida you guys are in?
I'm more close to Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And Jason's probably like an hour from Orlando.
Okay.
So like Central Florida.
So reptiles for you growing up was a normal thing, like you because
I mean
brother
lizards,
kept,
like frogs and stuff, like outside, like
right.
the basic Florida stuff.
Right.
Gators all the time. But
how much are you paying attention to like USARK Florida and like those kind of alerts? Like, are you really tapped into that stuff yet, or not really?
actually, I read up on it, but I'm not that into it yet.
Right.
But I do get I get the notifications, I read about them and stuff. It's in Florida, we've got a lot going on. So it's almost like you have to be aware, even though it's like that Jason takes care of all that stuff. He knows everything, but it's like, it's good to be aware of what's going on because there's a lot changing and USR keeps us updated and that's really nice.
Right.
And Florida, FWC, all those things, like the restrictions are crazy and we're close to like everything. We've got everything.
Yeah.
So we're watching out for that kind of stuff.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, it's unfortunate because Florida's not the only state that has neglect keepers and like animals getting out. The thing is, if an animal gets out in Florida, it's going to survive because it's Florida. Like there's no elements of it killing it. And like, you know, where for the most part, anything in like Utah or something, you know, once winter comes, but so Florida gets a lot of heat, like, and so, and they're also, you know, the first state of importation and whatnot. U.S. ARC announcement, guys, I apologize. That's Phil. By the way, U.S. ARC auction going down 6 o'clock tonight. It is a good time. You like the U.S. ARC auction? How many time the auction's been to? You haven't been to many.
Couple.
Yeah, they're fun. I feel like you would have the best time of your. I feel like you are made for the auction. Your spirit and how fun, like you're a fun person.
Thanks. Daytona is our home show, so we always go to that auction.
Oh man, here's a bummer, guys. Not for sure yet, but again, I'm probably not going to be able to make Daytona for the 3rd year in a row. And
make it.
I know, but here's the thing: like, I don't know what I'm having my first baby, and it's the end of July, and like, I can't just, as much as I love doing this, I don't know what, like, is he going to be healthy or like, am I going to deal with, like, how's the stress going to be at home? You know, and if I have to stay at home, I have to stay at home.
Yeah, if you have a baby coming the month before, you definitely want to support your wife.
And you know what kept me?
Whatever she needs. What
kept me from Daytona last year was Animal Con. Have you ever heard of Animal Con? Brian Barczyk, really cool event. Animal Con is thrown by Brian Barczyk. It's for creators and YouTubers, but really good respected, also respected reptile keepers as well. So I had to go to that, and I just couldn't stay the extra week for Daytona because it was like the week before Daytona, and then the Daytona before that, I got put in the hospital because I got bit by something ridiculous. And so I was in Florida, got bit by something.
Not a pretty python, though.
Not a python. They had 4 legs for sure. Yeah, we'll talk later about it. But yeah, so that and I asked my boy Matthew Summers. He was picking me up from the hospital, and I was like, "Going to Daytona." And as soon as I sat in the car, I'm like, because the paint all sat in and stuff like that. But anyways, Daytona, I've heard, you hear Tinleys, you hear about Arlington and NARBCs, but I hear about Daytona from so many legends, and that is kind of like the one show. Well, once I make it to Daytona, it's gonna be fucking on. Like, I love the stories I hear about Daytona.
Daytona is a great venue too. I love the beach, so it's on the beach. The hotel is literally on the beach, so the venue is great.
Right. It's like a good vacation vibe, right?
Yep.
And that's why that's what I liked about Animal Con, because it was at a resort. It was at like this, and there was like pool bars and like slides and shit. And so like, even if the event really wasn't something that you're all jazzed about, go to the pool, like go have fun. You know what I mean?
Well, just like we were talking about earlier, it's the people that make the event too. It's like
It
all the other breeders that you get to meet, and all the people that you get to meet, and then the auctions, and then the time after the dinners, all of that mingling and networking. It's great.
And
It's great for everybody.
and people have been doing this for years. And so think about the stories of each show and like memories, and just like, hey, I don't know. I feel like this is a good time of your life, that even if it's, because here's the thing, God bless everyone, but not everyone sticks around here. Like, some people come in and things happen and they go, but I can guarantee anyone who leaves the reptile industry never forgets it.
Oh, absolutely
Like
not.
the people, and that's why, like, shit, anything can happen to me. I can be at the game. Like, that's it. Anything really bad can happen to anyone's collection, and just that it could be over, right? And I don't pray that for anybody, but in my eyes, other than that, I don't ever see myself wanting to stop doing this. Like, I am really obsessed over this. My buddy Bill Stiegel, you know who Bill Stiegel is, Phoenix Reptiles, the mayor of Chondrotown. I'll introduce you.
Okay.
One of my good friends. He like wants to retire in 5 years, and like I just met him 3 years ago. We just like really became best friends over the last few years, and like for him to say that, which it makes sense because he's in his 50s. He wants to go vacation. He wants to go live life. Him and his wife want to travel.
He'll still keep into it, I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't just say it like that.
I don't think anybody will ever get rid of everything. Maybe they do, but you know what I mean? But
Right.
you probably go back to it. I've heard a lot of people just by being at the shows, I don't know about the genetics stuff, just by like talking to them, they get out of it and they get back into it, or they go out for whatever reasons, life, that. So they come back in at some point. So you're right. Like, I don't think it ever really is. Especially like Jason with his passion.
Right.
He probably told you like how it started in high school for him.
Right.
And his teacher still comes to our shows, like still in back, like get rodents from him sometimes. He helps Jason, like when I have the shows, the local ones sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's good. And that's a relationship that he got to have when he was in high school.
Right.
So imagine like some child, like we see the children here all the time buying snakes, young kids, like getting into it so young. So that's a good, like, you know what I mean? Like, you remember what you used to spend your money on in your teens.
Right.
Now they're spending on reptiles, so that's cool. Like, get them into a hobby that's healthy.
Better than drugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at. I was saying it.
Ball
Yeah,
pythons, not cocaine.
yeah. There you go.
From what I hear, you're a genetic wizard.
Absolutely not. Don't you dare.
But let me ask you this, because I feel like I feel like you're just kind of not giving yourself enough props. I'm sure there are some knowledge behind the stuff that's on the table, because how can you feel comfortable talking about this shit if you don't know what it is? I'm curious. It's a good question.
The thing is with the shows, you get all walks of people, like all different people.
Right.
So some people literally, like, you get the questions like, did you go out to the jungle and catch these? So I can buffer
That's
Jason.
an easy question. Yeah,
Exactly.
I got this
there's
one.
a lot of buffering that I can do that
Right.
helps him. And then when I need the knowledge, I always get him so that I don't give him false information.
Right.
So because it's important, if I don't want to tell them something that I don't know anything about. So if I can't answer it, I just immediately go to him. And if he's not here, that's the good thing about being at a show. There's all these reptile breeders that will help you out. There'll be times when he needs a bathroom break, and somebody will step in and they'll ask him, like, hey, can you help me real quick? Like, I don't know the genetics.
And from what I see, you guys have nothing but love by you. And I feel like every booth next to you are a friend or acquaintance. And I feel like it's the other good thing about vending, because once you get your feet into a show, you can make it to where you vend next to your friends, or you
Exactly.
and
You
you
make friends.
You make friends, and then next thing you know, you guys collab. We have so much.
That's how we've got these friends around us, just
Right.
from doing this.
And tell me how much more fun it is when you have other friends that you're like, go to their side, you go to their, it's just like so much, just like.
Yeah, that makes the show. For, you know what I mean? Everybody gets to see their people, their
Right.
friends, and a lot of these people you don't get to see unless they're attending the same shows. Like some of my friends, I only get to see them in Tinley. I only get to see them in St. Louis. I only get to see them in Daytona. I only can see them in here.
Right.
So that's the good part about it.
Let me ask you this: how much death have you encountered so far? And what I mean by that is because it's a touchy thing, but it's also like a crossover. Like I'm so thankful that all my death was encountered through chondros. But now that I have so many clutches, not that I have a ton, but like I have enough clutches where not every baby makes it and stuff like that. And that could really make somebody say, "Oh, I don't want to do this." You know what I mean? Because not everyone can really handle that. How do you handle stuff like that? And have you even I'm not asking do you have dead animals, but I'm just saying.
Oh no, we don't have to deal with it a lot, but it has happened before.
Right.
So we had one. If I see something wrong with it, obviously I immediately tell Jason. So that's the good part about having somebody hands-on all the time too. So
Right.
if I notice something, I'll let him know. And then I'll just put a little post-it on it, and I'll just remember to check on it every day, like whatever's going on. So, but when they do pass away, it's sad. Obviously, like one wasn't doing well, and I went to check on it, and it was gone. And I was like, and then I just get Jason.
Yeah.
And then it's sad, but thankfully, I don't encounter it often.
Right.
So,
And that's the thing. The reason why I'm not excited. The reason why I'm proud to say that I learned a lot of my death experiences with a chondro because learning curves are not forgiving with a chondro. Like if you make a bad move or a bad mistake, more likely the chondro's going to die. It's really hard to kill a ball python. Like you have to really neglect the shit out of a ball python for you to actually kill it yourself. Not to say that it's not easy, you can still do it, but you're not going to experience a lot of healthy babies just dying. Like it just doesn't happen.
Thankfully, yes, you're right.
And also like the whole one thing that hasn't happened to me a lot, and I'm glad it did with the ball python because I realized, okay, this happens with ball pythons too, is a perfectly healthy looking hatchling that's even taken a meal that just died the next day. And that has happened a lot, but it has happened to me where I'm just like, why did this snake die? Like it was doing fine. And then you're always going to question it because okay, right. Or even with the mice, even those that when they die, I love animals, so right. Obviously it's sad, but circle of life.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
That's how you have to.
I got to ask you, if things could be at the point where you could keep an animal at your house. I mean, first and foremost, what are your what do you have any pets? Period at your house? Any dogs, cats, anything?
Yes. Okay, so I have a dog, a Cavapoo. His name is Sawyer.
Sawyer, good name.
I really want one of the it's a pocket bully. I want a Frenchie. I want all the dogs.
Yes.
I want all the dogs.
Me too.
But so we have one dog right now, and then we have a tortoise.
Wow.
3 leopard geckos, a crested gecko, a Holland-lopped dwarf bunny.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's it.
How small is that dwarf bunny?
God, he's amazing. He's
wow. So you almost have like a petting zoo.
That's what I call it,
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's outside.
Everything's kept outside.
Well, I have a carport, so.
Oh, cool.
The dog's inside, obviously.
Nice.
And when it gets cold, we just bring him in.
Nice. What would you say overall your not your prediction, but so many different opinions as far as the time of year or the time of this era with a quote-unquote recession or people not buying things. What has your been experience with that? I mean, are you seeing like a little bit of a not a backpedaling, but like a chilling out on some of the snake purchases, or do you feel like it's been what it always been? I mean, what do you have to speak on that?
I don't really know. I would say if anything, there's a lot of talk about it, but it seems like we're still moving stuff, not as much, but it's still pretty good.
Right.
So I would say a slight decline maybe, but I can't speak for everybody else. I don't know.
Right. I mean, but what would you, for anyone out there who does feel worried or concerned, because, there's a lot of people who have concerns that aren't tapped in and going to shows. I mean, they're just social media people. Like they're involved in the community, but they're not really like going to shows and seeing what it's really like happening. So if you have anyone out there who's kind of panicking and wondering, oh my God, is the ball python game going to be oversaturated, or I'm sorry, not even oversaturated, but just like a point where it's not going to ever be the same. I mean, what do you have to say about that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's a Jason question for sure. I don't know. I mean, you hear people we've heard the comments oh, people say it's a dying industry, but then they're like, well, you guys are doing great. It just keeps showing up. I don't know. Until you feel that it's a dying industry or you're losing money financially, just keep showing up. That's the only thing if you're not there, you can't sell. keep putting your product online. Like just keep going.
How many
That's the only thing I can say.
how many shows a year are you doing with Jason?
Well, we just picked up some Repticons. I think we're doing St. Louis. No, we're not doing St. Louis. We're doing Arlington twice, Tinley twice, right?
Yep. Tinley's
And then
March
we've
and
got
October.
Daytona. And then I wish he would do some California shows, but
I mean, but listen, Florida
maybe.
to California, that's a mission, man. That's literally from one part of the country to the other part. You know what I mean?
I know, we should definitely do it, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that's Pomona and Anaheim, those are my backyard shows.
That's what I want to do. I just want to see.
They're fun.
I'm sure.
But I can tell you what, one thing that, not that it lags, but there's a lot more keepers at shows like this.
Yeah.
Where, like, don't get me wrong, there's people who go to Pomona, but it's like 2 times maybe the traffic of this, and it's a lot of families, and a lot of like, not window
Pets?
shoppers, yeah, exactly, or just maybe first time like people were just interested,
Just saw an animal
Southern
show.
California, Anaheim is right there next to Disneyland, so you actually have like Disneyland people who are there for the week and they just come on in. So, but it's still fun. Like,
That sounds kind of like our Repticons. Like they're in Orlando, the tourist city. It's like so a lot of people come there.
and I know still. I mean, Josh Jackie. You know who Josh Jackie is?
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Josh Jackie, Ball Python Shed. I mean, he's somebody who we had a conversation that the last time he did a Pomona, it didn't go so well, like sales wise. And think about the commitment of and how much money to travel, right? So he was like, dude, if I take this Pomona, it'll probably be my last Pomona. And we need people like Josh Jackie to be at these West Coast shows because it just brings more of his people over to what is happening. But that guy I think he sold over 40K that Saturday or something. I forget. I think over the whole weekend it was like 40K or something.
So he's
coming back. You know what I mean?
That's good.
That's like
that's part of showing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you have to take the good with the bad with this industry, just like everything else. I feel like so to speak on it would be not really my place, but I don't know. Like with anything, just keep showing up unless it's like putting you financially backwards. Then that's a business move you got to talk about.
And another thing too, like mentally going into any show thinking, oh, it's not going to be a good show. Well, it's probably not going to be a good show with that.
Your mentality has to be like
you got to be pumped up.
Yeah, show up every day. Like you got to smile. You have to engage in people. Like a lot of things. I think too, like just having. I mean, I don't know, but maybe with like so many the industry changing and all the families and the females that are coming in, I think maybe it helps a little bit to have a female behind the table. Or maybe Jason's just intimidating looking. No.
Dude, I mean, he does look kind of gangster. I'm not gonna lie, especially with that necklace on. He's wearing some bling right now.
Hey, it's everything. Okay, we need that necklace.
Okay, what are your favorite morphs? I mean, I know you're not genetic queen or
but I can
whatever.
tell you my favorite.
But I want to talk about some of the stuff that you really enjoy. Seeing being worked by your brother and yourself and whatnot. Let's talk about your favorites.
I really like. We just sold it actually a couple hours ago, but it was my favorite snake in the collection. It's a firefly clown.
Wow.
She's a female. She's just so beautiful.
It's a firefly clown, you said?
Mm-hmm. Really, I don't know. I like everything he produces.
It's not. I need your favorite.
That's so big. Okay. I like the super fire boas, but we don't have a big boa collection anymore, so don't get too excited about that.
And there's no boas here, right?
No.
Okay. So wait, how many? I mean, from what you know, how many boas are left in Jason's collection?
Breeders, 13-ish.
Wow. And do you know why he's backing off the boas? I'm curious.
Probably just because we have so much.
Right.
It's a lot to handle.
Okay.
So
it is a lot.
Yeah, so he downsized a little bit on that. So.
Right.
But we still have some, so that's good.
If there's anything that you feel is like the biggest eye grabber at your table, I mean, what is the one snake you feel like everyone's always looking at? Like, is it an all-white snake?
That don't appeal to my eyes.
Okay.
So it's always Jason. It's always the ones with the hefty price tags, and it's always people who know what they're looking for. We do have one at home. It's an xanthic something, I don't know, but it's so beautiful. It was on we just showed it. Jace, what was the one that's almost silver that we have at home in the whole back? It's an xanthic. The black and white when you just did the video of it the other day.
Oh, the leopard xanthic desert ghost?
Yeah. Leopard xanthic desert ghost. that one is beautiful.
I gotta tell you, like the diversity of what Jason works with is pretty outstanding because
That's what I hear.
you usually have people who have like they're like one or two projects that they're like kind of like only want to be known for, but like I think all around the board, Jason's just killing it. Like he has amazing shit.
I do hear that from a lot of people, so
Yeah.
that's that word of mouth.
Yeah. Now, what's the future hold for you in the reptiles? Do you really feel like you can do this for the rest of your life, or what do you
If
feel?
he is, then I am.
Yeah. So you're in for it as long as he is, basically.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then we have Holly too, of course. You can't forget her.
I have a wrap-up question because this has been an awesome time. Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much. And I actually want to finish off the last few minutes talking to you. We could
Okay.
do the outro together, okay?
Okay.
So, but before we do the outro together, give somebody who has a real big problem or phobia introducing themselves to people. Like, let's say that, man, their life would change if they come to a show. They have that phobia, right? Like, what's this one piece of advice for anyone out there who's like, I don't say they're unapproachable, but they have a hard time. Maybe not either thinking
Maybe
they're
like
cool enough.
social anxiety.
Right, because some people, I can't tell you how many people hit me up and say, hey, I saw you at the show. I just want to come say hi to you. I'm like,
Oh, all
what?
the time. All
I'm
the
like,
time.
well, and mind you, like when you were talking to somebody, but I had people say like, oh, I just didn't know if you wanted me to talk to you. I'm like, dude, what?
Just humans.
Right, that's what I'm
They
saying.
to Jason like, is it okay if I ask him to take a picture? I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's fine. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
His humility is amazing, thank God. So
And it goes back to just like at the end of the day, the majority of the people in the reptile industry are introverts. Like they're not people, but the reptiles fixes all that. Like
Well,
it brings us together.
Jason has social anxiety sometimes too. So, and you wouldn't know it, but when you're in this environment, or maybe when you have someone with you,
Right.
you know, most of the people have their wives with them or their brothers or whoever they bring with them to the show.
Right.
So having that second person, almost like a person that has your back, like
Right.
when he doesn't want to speak, I speak. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? So that teamwork helps too. So maybe if somebody was like social anxiety issues and you didn't want to vent for that,
Right.
bring somebody else. Bring that extrovert with you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I know the chemistry between you and your brother are like second to none. It's awesome because I love my sisters, but I can be difficult sometimes. So the fact that you guys have it going on, so stoked for you two. But yeah, I'll talk to you in a minute. Thank you so much, Jen. Ladies and gentlemen, Kindred Reptile. We have Nicholas from Renowned Reptile sitting down with us in his mighty fine cowboy hat. Here he comes. Yeehaw.
You know,
What's up, buddy?
win and run.
What did you pay? How much did you pay for the hat?
Oh, you know, I'm a big spender. So I picked it up for $25 in the gift shop. I think it was 27 with that.
In the marketplace
Yeah,
shop?
where I got my coffee this morning. I'm like, man, I want to get hyped for this auction. It's time. I missed it for the last 2 years. Time to raise some money.
I hope you guys understand. I want you guys to put some respect on Nicholas's name right now because you know how many vultures, table thieves are at auctions, okay? It's so hard to be able to cop a table at an auction. And if this man's in the building and Phil knows he's in the building, what did Phil tell you? What did Phil tell you?
He said he would take care of it.
In which,
He did. He came through.
dude, and I always thought Miguel was the only one with that kind of pool. When I very first started coming around, I thought, man, Miguel's the only one who could probably get us a table. But then I remember there were shows that he weren't going to, and then you were pulling tables.
Yeah.
So
We have a commitment that we will raise some money for a USARC, for USARC, when we're there.
I mean, mind you, that's why you're getting a table because you motherfuckers spend money. Like it's like you're obviously Phil knows you guys come to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have a great respect for what Phil and his team does. So it allows us to do what we love on a day-to-day basis. If that was taken away from me, I would be miserable. And so I need to support any sort of organization that is empowering your company to do what you do every day.
Yeah, I do appreciate as somebody as, I mean, I don't want to say you're super fresh into the game. I mean, you've definitely concreted your feet into this shit, but you've always been a huge advocate of U.S. art.
Yeah.
Even though you're not a bar check or a fucking, a big name person,
Right.
you still rep that shit like it is. Like if you do, like if you are everywhere. And I'm saying that because there's not enough bigger people that are representing U.S. art the way we are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you do it because it benefits what we do. Like
There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot to threaten. There's multiple states right now trying to make what we're doing right now at this show illegal as part of a traveling animal. Right. And that is just the tip of the iceberg if something like that passes. that's just opening the floodgates to more regulation and, you know, changing us from a blacklist of what we can have to a white list of what we can only keep, and that makes everything else illegal. Like, that's scary, right? You know, I really enjoy these animals. They've been, you know, therapy for a lot of people. They've been able to release and kind of deal with whatever they need to do and just kind of focus on the animals. And so I think to take that away, also, I think people would stop caring about them. And in that market in Africa, these were no longer specifically ball pythons oversitting, obviously. If these weren't part of the trade, they'd then be part of the meat trade if they weren't part of the pet trade.
Right.
So,
Can you imagine that?
every action, you know, has a reaction. That's ever apparent.
Very. Man, when was the last time you've been at an NARBC show?
It's been about 2 years. You know, I was on a hiatus last year. It feels great to get out and see everybody. I mean, there's so many awesome people and different breeders at this show right now. Feels like we got the band back together. We're going to get together tonight at the auction and do it big and raise some money. And then, you know, go out with a bang tonight like we always do.
Yeah, it's nothing to sleep on, guys. I'm telling you right now, this whole community that you know, and like I said, we're friends, but you know how many other cliques are out in this?
Oh, yeah.
Like people come, they're family, man.
Oh, yeah. There's completely other groups of people doing something completely different than us and having just as much fun.
Right. Now, at the end of the day, you're no Joe Schmo. Like, when I say that, like, you're strategic snake purchaser. Like, when you buy something, it's more likely from somebody that is not selling it, and it's like more of a, here, I just hatched it, right? So that's the kind of player you are. But I'm saying that normally, right? But in this show, whoa, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah,
so
from the booth I think right behind us over here, my boy
Chad Holker, yes.
I picked up yellow belly paint, you know, so it's a visual recessive paint in yellow belly. It's super pixelated, super busy pattern. I really like dark, busy stuff, and so I really think that's a great piece of the puzzle to add in.
Paint puzzle.
No, a big piece of the puzzle for me.
Oh,
to add more busyness to the pattern and all that.
But paint and puzzle can't go together if you want to?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I plead the fifth, man. I don't know. I have one puzzle I don't in that game. You gotta ask that man right there.
I know. He's coming up next. We're talking to Joel Woolsey next, just so you guys know.
So he'll explain whether paint and puzzle is compatible because I don't know anything about that.
Paint is a recessive.
Correct.
Right.
That's why it's listed on MORPH Market.
How much paint stuff do you have right now?
That was my first step into the game.
I love it. Okay, so somebody, like I said, who is strategically making the right moves, adding something new to projects currently in your career. How are you moving with that? I mean, what's the game plan behind it?
I think the nice part about where I am right now is I've kind of found my lane. Right, I found what I like, what works for me, what seems to click with the hobby, you know, the community and everybody else.
Right.
As far as like more of the dark, busy, you know, and then when I do color, it's really high contrast stuff. So that's kind of where I want to stay. And so I'm really looking for puzzle. Sorry, I keep saying puzzle. Because I keep looking for genes that fit into that program. Right. I'm not willing to divert from that, even though there's amazing hides here that I think are sick and like would be crazy to go down that lane. It's just. It's not dark, it's not busy, you know, and so it's not really what I'm focused on.
Bracket 2.0, did you see it?
Oh, sweet. So I essentially have that lined up. I'm just missing two key components, which is GHI and red stripe. But we can toss
just GHI and red stripe.
Yeah, we'll toss that in the mix, though. That's all.
I gotta say, out of anyone that you've seen booth-wise, who do you got to give the props to? Who's the biggest props to right now? I mean, I'm sure there's more than one, but if one stands out to you, who's the one with the most pop in his booth right now at Arlington? So
the most popping booth. I mean, Bob Vu always comes and presents himself with a lot of inventory and a big team. And
I already came straight from the strip club to his table.
I don't know anything about that. He was with me on the elevator at 8 a.m. coming into the show. That's all I know.
That's all we got to say about that.
Dedication.
Yeah.
So that's an impressive booth. Lone Star Reptiles has this like spinning thing on a fan behind. Like I
saw that.
But it's displaying different images that are really cool. It's like showing some of his genes that he works with. It shows his logo with like rotating sphere around it. I thought that was kind of innovative. I haven't really seen that before.
Wow. And that's the kind of stuff like that will kind of change up the whole game at your booth.
I talked about it. It impressed on me, right? So maybe hit some other folks.
One thing I really didn't want to do at Pomona, and it's just because of like the timing and how much I didn't realize how fucking it's a lot packing for a show and all that. Like especially when you're solo, right? And I wasn't even solo. I'm just saying it's a lot to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring my whole DJ set up. So I'm like, bro, how come there's no music? Like I get you can't bump too loud, but the vibe, like
I have a speaker under my table when I vend and I play music.
But just imagine just someone mixing, like you know what I mean? Like it's kind of maybe a lot, but still, like
if you want to go ahead and send me a playlist, I'll plug your playlist under my table. So that's actually you can voice a lot.
I have a question for Nicholas.
Yeah.
What are we looking at future-wise for you in shows? Are you going to be going back to hiatus, or are you back on?
I took it off to focus on paying for my wife's dream wedding. You know,
Congratulations, buddy.
Appreciate that.
You did everything like a dream. From what I've heard, the most dreamiest wedding for any girl.
It was very expensive. It doubled our budget, and that's why I didn't go to shows, because I knew that if I went to a show, I would not be able to pay for the wedding because I can't control myself. This is my playground.
How many outfits does she have?
There were 3 outfit changes. I had one. It was when I took my jacket off.
Guys, listen. Big reason why coming to shows are so important is because you can be friends with somebody like Nicholas, who's a very approachable, lovable guy. He's the real,
I like people.
He's the real big dog. Miguel labeled this guy the real big dog in the reptile industry, mainly because he's the homie and he's really, really big. But we're gonna be sitting down now with Joel from State 48 Exotics. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Nick. Yeah, please go give him a follow. Renowned Reptiles on Instagram.
Howdy.
But now we're gonna get State 48 with it. My man Joel Wussy is taking his time, I guess, and no big deal. He's I gave him no heads up, by the way. I don't think he knew that. Yeah, we're live. Oh,
damn, sorry, I thought it was recording. Sorry, I didn't know.
And another homie, I'm so happy to see you, man. NARBC Arlington, how you feeling, Joel?
Woo. Fantastic, dude. I'm tired right now. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm hitting stuff.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm getting, dude. I'm hitting that like where I hit a plateau, you know, and like here in a minute, it's gonna like I'll get elevated again. I'm excited.
The second
auction
win
will like prep me back up, and I'll be like, you know,
dude, another player I have not seen it at NARBC for a while. Not a while, but when was the last Arlington you were at?
Oh, 2 years ago. 2 years, yeah. Beginning of 2020 or towards the tail end of like COVID, when like COVID was like releasing its reins on us a little bit,
right?
And we could like start traveling. It's like that first show back. It was actually the first time being here. This show's awesome.
Yeah,
this is so cool. Everybody brings like cool snakes here, so it's like it's been fun.
I was talking to Nicholas, and you know, I only mentioned puzzle because he said puzzle, but he meant like the piece to the puzzle.
Yeah,
right.
Paint
and puzzle, is that something that you could do together? Or
I think so. Yeah, I think that would be cool. You know, who knows how? Like, it's always tough. You know, the starts of these projects,
right?
Because you have no idea. I have no idea what they're going to look like. They might not work, right? Or they, you know. My hope is obviously with everything, it'll work great, right? But I think puzzle would be a cool candidate for paint for sure. Paint's super busy, makes this like crazy pattern. Everything's distorted. You know, it's like a super granite gene. You know, so then you like bring puzzle in, which has like no granite to it at all.
Right.
And now you see if it works right.
What do you know? I've vaguely heard about this gene, especially from back in the day. Campfire or something like that?
Campfire?
You heard about that? And does that involve paint? I'm confused.
I don't know. I've heard, what was it? The campfire. Wasn't it like a combo of a couple? I thought it was like a combo, the campfire. I could be wrong on that. I feel like I remember seeing that like some of my like first Pomonas back in like 2015, 2016,
right?
That kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't remember. I wonder what that's at, because I know it existed. I don't know where it's at though.
What would you say the number one like untapped project in your collection right now? And I don't mean like, oh, nobody's working with, not a lot of people are.
Right.
I think I know what I'm trying to get out there.
Right.
What's the pot of gold sitting on the ring?
For me right now, the pot of gold is, it's obviously in combination with some other stuff with lace right now, man. Lace is where I think that's, I think that's going to be
Lace or white lace?
well, white lace, right?
Right.
Yeah, you know, we're gunning for white. We got to make them all,
Right.
You know, now. So like, you know, we're in the het phase,
Dude.
you know.
In which I love my lace double het that I got from you,
Yeah.
dude. And honestly, like I'm here. I am geeking over. I don't want to say it looks normal, but it's like it's nothing like.
It's like a standout normal. You know, it does have like some side pattern. There's some like white that comes up along the sides, you know, but we're talking like, you know, let's say, you know, somebody random that just walked in this building, never seen ball pythons before. They might say it looks normal, you know, like let's be a little honest, but to us, you know, like I can see it.
Because we know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know
I
what I
can see
mean?
I can see the heat. I can see the heat in that thing. Yeah.
But the thing, isn't that the idea? If we could keep stuff that maybe to the outsider looking in, what's the big deal? But we know what the big deal is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's also this something I want to talk to you about is the whole impression that we think what a codom is or super codom. Like for instance, right? Like this lace.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, that what was it? It's something about. It's the het version, not like so. The super codom is the recessive version. What we're really looking for.
Yeah, there's no such thing as like a normal. Everything has a mark, right? Everything is logically it makes perfect sense, right?
Right.
Like look at Mojave. What's a super? It's a white snake. So is Mojave actually het leucistic? Well, I guess technically, you know,
Right.
But at the same time, you know, we live in a different, you know, our marketplace is a little different than genetics. Let's say, you
Right.
know, so. I think that's how we should be looking at it as far as our projects go. Like the supers are the coolest versions of the genes usually.
Right.
You know, let's say make, you know, sometimes, you know, solid white snakes, solid black snakes, maybe there's not much you can do with them there, but usually when they're doing stuff like that, their single gene version does a lot. You know, like Mojave does a lot by itself. You know, Lester does a lot by itself. So you don't necessarily need the super, but yeah, the supers, I think that's our next recessive. Now we'll get quad recessive supers. You
Right.
know, like then it's like, oh, geez.
Right.
You know, so
What do you you know, a lot of people, especially newer people, right? They
Right.
always ask, like, how do I know what codoms to work with?
right.
In my opinion, if it makes a fucking 6 super,
yeah,
that's what you should work with.
jump on it.
Right.
Right,
Like
right.
super asphalt, super chocolate,
super
like
gravel.
super gravel,
I'm telling you,
which is so important.
disco. I'm telling you guys right now, disco.
Dude,
A super disco, it does all the cool stuff that fire does, all the cool stuff that vanilla does. But the super is fantastic. You know, that's a cool super. That's a cool super.
it trips me out how I think a year ago super gravels were still in the 2K range. I think like
Right.
females, but
Yeah.
now it's like $800.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I'm not saying that's going back, not, but something like right now is the time to jump on shit.
For sure.
Like I'm telling you right now, people are lowering. Like,
People are. Yeah, this is like, you know, this is kind of how it used to be, right? A few
Right.
years ago,
Right.
You know, there was a little more room for deals. There was a little more room for group packages. There was like, you know, like this is when you start to build a solid collection. Like you start innovating your genes this year. You start, you know, buying when everybody's saying there's a recession. That's, you know, that's Warren Buffett 101, man.
Right.
You know, buy when people are afraid and sell when they're happy.
Right.
You know, people make dumb mistakes when they're afraid, so that's when you buy. So
did-
here we are.
what year was your biggest investment year?
Probably 2000. I think 2018 was probably like the biggest year. It was probably the biggest expansion. We bought a lot. You know, we bought RHACS. We got all of our freedom breeders in. We sank some money into some double recessive projects. So that was probably the biggest. And then there on out, it's almost kind of been the same every year. You know, we get like one or two maybe higher end animals to increase that genetic pool. You know, push us a little bit. But,
Right.
honestly, man, I haven't bought a snake in a while. It's driving me crazy. And then here I am at this place.
It's just real.
Oh, yeah, I want to find some, you know.
It's like trying to be a recovering addict when you're at a rave.
Yeah, yeah. What am I doing?
Okay, sure, I'll take one.
Yeah. Okay, just one. Yeah.
But when did you really feel good about your investments? And you know, some feel good right off the bat, but for Joel, when did you feel like, okay, that was working? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think puzzle helped me a lot. I think with that, like puzzle, I think was our best investment. Let's call it, as far as like return on investment. Both in the fact that I'm fascinated by the project, and a lot of other people are too. So that helps,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But I think honestly, this season's going to be my year where I'm like, it was worth it. Really,
Right.
you know, I think this season will be my worth it year for sure.
I don't know why, man. I mean, I know why, but what is it about rainbow? Like I feel like you're the rainbow man. Like I don't know.
Yeah, which is
enough-
crazy. Yeah, because
I don't know anyone else talking about the way you
Right,
talk,
right.
and the way you put me on game at your house. It was like,
Right.
holy shit, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the rainbow. Like
Yeah.
where are we at from Joel's scene? What he wants to see in that rainbow project?
So we have him to puzzle hit hypo this year. So hopefully we hit hypo, you know, double hits. So that's, you know, real excited for that because, you know, I take like rainbow and banana, right?
Right.
They're very similar color palette. So anything banana's done great, rainbow will do great in. So
Right.
that's, you know, for the easy answer, that's the route, right? Like
Right.
rainbow clown pies are going to be magnificent.
Rainbow. No,
Yeah, they're going to be magnificent. There's a couple like banana clown pies out here that like blow my mind in color. You know, blow my mind. So I know rainbows are going to do great. So yeah, that's, you know, I don't know. Rainbow's a color enhancer, right? It's a color enhancer.
I
So-
mean, because like you said, the rainbows you have banana in it.
no, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
But it looked like there almost is banana in it.
Yeah,
that's what's crazy.
That's the crazy.
But
yeah.
it looks like a banana on steroids.
right. You know, we
like
don't
a
get
designer
we don't
banana.
get spots.
No spots.
No sex link.
Which is everyone's like, how many people laugh and say, oh, this baby's not gonna have any spots?
Yeah.
A year later, it's freckled out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and like I get it. Yeah, I have a really cool banana combo, and it has freckles, and I love it. It's so
Right.
cool looking. But
Is it the black pastel one, or is it like?
yeah, it's spot nose, yellow belly. It's like this. It's a double head clown pie, so it's like, you know, it has all these like freckles on it. Looks really pretty.
Right.
I'd also like it not to. You know, like at the same time, like so. Hopefully we get that with rainbow.
Wrap up question for you here, Joel.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, it feels good. Like, you know, Nick says, the band's back, man, and it kind of
Yeah.
feels like we're all back. You know, we're
Yeah.
together. But what would be your encouragement for anyone out there who is like just so on the fence about shows, either money or time or whatever, but maybe they don't think it's worth it? What would you have
Right.
to say to anyone out there? And I'm talking about somebody who wants to be a part of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think the things you got to consider is like this is where the community's at, right?
Right.
And without the community, there's no market. Like each one of us are our own little micro markets to work with each other.
100%.
And the only way you're going to be involved in that market is to be around it. It's emergent. You have to immerse yourself in anything that you want to be good at, right?
Right.
And this is where it's all at, you know. And the other thing I would say too is like there's all that talk about like, you know, ball python recession and stuff like that. You know, sure, maybe things weren't as good as they were, you know, when the government was handing out some checks to everybody.
Right.
You know, it's never.
But that's all around across the board. Like,
Right.
that's like
You know,
life in
that's-
general.
that's
People
life,
overspend.
right.
Yeah.
After great expansion comes great reduction. You know, everybody, you know, equalizes, right? But the thing is if you would have shown up here today, you would have never known that there is a such thing as a ball python or reptile recession because there was 1,000 people here.
Right.
And that's, you know, quit listening to social media and show up and see for yourself.
Get out.
Get out.
I'm telling
See
you.
it.
And you won't be so scared.
You won't be
Yeah.
because it's everywhere. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man. You know.
Guys, please go give Joel a follow on Instagram. Where are we at with? I know you started putting YouTube out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, man, you're one of the YouTube channels I can handle and love watching your shit. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
appreciate
Joel.
that.
Like you have a
Appreciate that.
signature style of yours.
Yeah.
But where are we at with the YouTube stuff? I mean, are we gonna
Good,
consistent with it or what?
Yeah, I got a couple videos actually recorded. Just got to edit them.
Sweet.
You know, I was trying to do, you know, get back to once a week. Shorts help out a little bit, but I feel like they're a cop out. But,
Right.
you know, so I want to be back at it. I actually do enjoy it, man. I enjoy like talking about snakes. You know,
Right.
Obviously, here.
Yeah.
You know, this is fun for me.
And me and Joel had a great podcast that we did in person.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I mean, it was just shy of a 3-hour podcast, but I feel like homies like us could just keep talking and
Oh,
talking
yeah.
and talking.
Yeah,
and
for
it doesn't
sure.
get old because it's all like shit we care about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. This is easy.
Yeah.
This is easy.
And so, anyways, thank you for being an easy homie to get along with and just
Yeah,
being
for
a
sure.
huge supporter Guys, go fuck with my boy Joel. Thank you so
Dude,
much. See you at the
thank
auction,
you.
buddy. He's gonna
Oh,
go down.
Auction,
Yeah.
man. Here
Joel
we
Woolsey,
go.
ladies and gentlemen. All right, Jen, we're closing it out. Let's go.
Oh, me.
And she's back. People in the chats were like, "We need Jen back."
Damn.
Here she is. So closing it out here, NARBC Arlington on this beautiful Saturday night. What do you think? I mean, do you feel like vending is a huge, important piece to the longevity of you wanting to be a reptile keeper? Like, what I mean is, like, do you feel like you should at least try it? Like, I don't know, like,
We've talked about it before.
Right.
We thought about giving me boas.
wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely it's not completely out of
Picture.
yeah.
Right. I mean, I gotta say that there are maybe things that you can come across that might just click in your head, and you might be like, dude, this is it. You know, the fact that you work with leopard geckos, and I mean, I gotta tell you, the whole gecko world is amazing. Like,
Oh yeah, I love them.
I have this Sunday segment where I talk to a lot of gecko breeders and monitor breeders. That's a whole nother world of
Oh, yeah.
excitement. The money's just as good as far as people, doing really good with their production. So I don't know. Listen, I love that you are part of this, but I would love to see like a Jen, like just Jen, at some point. But at the end of the day, it's you, Jason, but like maybe there could be a section
Oh, I
of
thought about it.
Jen production. You know
Even
what I mean?
like the boas, like if I did take on boas, just a little something.
What do you have to say to all your supporters out there? Everyone who really, because like I said, when I had your brother on, there were so many people gassing you up and telling me, like, there's so many Jen lovers out there. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's so cute.
What do you have to say to all your supporters out there? Everyone who fucking loves hanging out with you and your brother at shows. Mainly everyone wants to see you guys win. What do you have to say to everyone out there?
Thank you, obviously. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. Like, nobody's anything without support, so that's huge.
Right.
So thank you, everybody, literally. And everyone's always so much fun, so it's always a good time for everybody.
And then make sure, like I said, guys, if you're at any NARBC, any Repticon, or any Reptile Super, well, hold on. Hopefully we get you guys up to the West Coast.
Yeah. Do you hear that, Jason?
Yeah.
West Coast.
I'm going to be on Jason's bumper about that. But like I said, you can catch Kittner reptiles at any big reptile show, I would say, for the most part, the major ones,
Hopefully that continues.
right?
Yeah.
So either way, guys, please go give this lovely brother and sister duo. And there's Holly, of course. Like, it's,
Of course, Holly.
shout out to Holly, couldn't make it. She's holding it down as a mom back
Always.
home.
Yes.
So props to all the mothers, all the wives,
Yes.
all the significant others. But guys, we are tapping out. We got to wrap things up and get ready to hit this USR auction. Thank you so much. I
Thank you,
appreciate
MJ.
Jen.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, you're great.
So much love.
Hit
Thank
that
you.
subscribe button, guys. If this is your first time tapping in, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Drop a comment. Let me know what you like best out of this NARBC live stream. And I'll catch you guys here Monday for New Breed on the Block. Shout out to all my Patreon members. I love you guys, and I'll see you at the top. Gee! Good job.
We done.
Yay. Thank you
Hopefully
so
it
much.
went well.